The acrid stench of burning metal filled the air as Mira and Sasha trudged through the endless scrapyard. Their bare feet, calloused and scarred, navigated the treacherous terrain of twisted debris and jagged shards. The two teenage girls, once vibrant and full of life, now moved with the defeated gait of prisoners, their bodies bruised and malnourished. Mira, her once lustrous black hair now matted and dull, paused to wipe the sweat from her brow. She glanced at Sasha, whose freckled face was streaked with grime and fatigue. They exchanged a silent look of determination, a reminder of their pact to survive, no matter the cost. The Zarkath, the alien race that had subjugated Earth, loomed nearby. Their towering insectoid forms cast long shadows across the scrapyard. One of them, a particularly nasty overseer named Krelox, chittered menacingly at the girls. "Move faster, human vermin." Krelox's mandibles clicked as he spoke, his compound eyes gleaming with malice. "The quotas must be met, or you'll face the pain chambers again." Sasha flinched at the memory of their last session in those nightmarish rooms. She forced her aching muscles to work faster, sifting through piles of scrap for the precious metals the Zarkath demanded. As they worked, Mira's mind wandered to the day their lives had changed forever. It had been just over a year since the invasion. The Zarkath ships had appeared without warning, their advanced technology making short work of Earth's defenses. Within weeks, major cities had fallen, and humanity found itself enslaved by a merciless alien force. Mira and Sasha had been separated from their families during the chaos of the initial attacks. Now, they only had each other, two 16-year-old girls trying to survive in a world turned upside down. "Sasha," Mira whispered, careful not to draw the attention of their captors, "we can't keep living like this. We need to find a way out." Sasha nodded grimly, her voice barely audible. "I know. But how? We've tried escaping before, and you saw what happened to the others who failed." The conversation was cut short as Krelox approached, his mandibles twitching with irritation. "Silence, slaves. Your pitiful attempts at communication are a waste of energy. Channel that into your work or face the consequences." The girls fell silent, returning to their back-breaking labor. Hours passed, the relentless sun beating down on them as they sorted through mountains of scrap. Their hands were raw and bleeding, but they dared not slow down. As the day wore on, Mira's foot caught on something buried in the debris. She stumbled, barely catching herself before she fell. Curious, she began to dig around the object, revealing what appeared to be a heavily damaged datapad. With a furtive glance towards their distracted overseer, Mira quickly pocketed the device. Her heart raced at the risk she was taking, but the potential for useful information was too great to ignore. As the sun began to set, casting an eerie orange glow across the scrapyard, Krelox finally called an end to their shift. "Line up for inspection, humans." Mira and Sasha, along with the other slaves in their work group, formed a ragged line. They stood at attention, trying to hide their exhaustion and fear as Krelox scrutinized their day's work. The alien's compound eyes narrowed as he reviewed the data on his hovering control panel. "Barely acceptable," he hissed. "You'll live to see another day, but remember, your survival depends on your productivity. Disappoint me again, and you'll wish for the mercy of a quick death." With that ominous threat hanging in the air, the slaves were herded back to their cramped, filthy barracks. As they collapsed onto their hard bunks, Mira cautiously withdrew the datapad she had found. "Sasha, look," she whispered, showing her friend the device. Sasha's eyes widened. "Is it working? Can you access anything?" Mira fiddled with the controls, her heart sinking as the screen remained dark. "I don't think so. The battery must be dead, or maybe it's too damaged." But as she was about to give up, the screen flickered to life for a brief moment. In that instant, both girls caught a glimpse of what looked like schematics, complex diagrams of some kind of massive machine. "Did you see that?" Sasha breathed, excitement creeping into her voice for the first time in months. Mira nodded, her mind racing. It looked like some kind of robot, or maybe a mech, but it was huge. Do you think it could be one of the old defense units? The ones from before the invasion? Sasha asked, hope kindling in her eyes. Maybe, Mira replied, her voice hushed but intense. If we could find one of those, if we could somehow get it working. The possibilities were both thrilling and terrifying. The girls spent the next hour whispering excitedly, their imaginations running wild with plans of escape and rebellion. As they finally drifted off to sleep, exhausted, but with a newfound spark of hope, neither of them could have imagined the adventures that lay ahead. In the harsh world of that alien-controlled scrapyard prison, two human girls had stumbled upon the first clue that would lead them on a journey to reclaim their freedom, and perhaps the freedom of all humanity. Days blurred together in an endless cycle of grueling labor and fitful sleep. Mira and Sasha clung to the secret of the damaged datapad, their newfound hope carefully hidden behind expressionless faces as they toiled under the watchful eyes of their Zarkaf overlords. One sweltering afternoon, as they sorted through a particularly treacherous pile of debris, Sasha's foot slipped. She tumbled down the jagged slope, crying out in pain as sharp metal edges tore at her skin. Sasha. Mira scrambled down after her friend, heart pounding. Krelox's menacing click hiss sounded from nearby. What's this? Lazy humans trying to avoid work. Mira helped Sasha to her feet, noticing with alarm the blood trickling down her friend's leg. She's hurt, Mira said, trying to keep the fear from her voice. She needs medical attention. The alien overseer's compound eyes narrowed. Pathetic creatures. Your inefficiency is noted. Return to work immediately or face the consequences. As Krelox turned away, Mira supported Sasha, guiding her around the debris pile. We need to find somewhere for you to rest, she whispered urgently. Sasha gritted her teeth against the pain. There, she gasped, pointing to a shadowed crevice between two massive, rusted hulks of machinery. The girls carefully made their way to the spot, Mira constantly glancing over her shoulder to ensure they weren't being watched. As they reached the crevice, Sasha collapsed against one of the metal walls, breathing heavily. Mira tore a strip from her already tattered shirt, using it to bind Sasha's wound. As she worked, her eyes adjusted to the gloom of their hiding place. Suddenly, she froze. Sasha, she breathed, look at this. Behind them, partially buried under years of accumulated junk and debris, was something massive. Its form was barely distinguishable, but there was no mistaking the familiar lines of human engineering amidst the alien scrap. Sasha's eyes widened. Is that? I think so, Mira nodded, excitement building in her chest. It's one of ours, a battle mech. The girls exchanged a look of cautious hope. This was exactly what they had dreamed of finding since discovering the schematics on the datapad. Ignoring the risk, they began to clear away the debris covering the mech. As more of it was revealed, their excitement grew. It was enormous, easily 20 meters tall, its armored form a testament to human engineering and determination. Do you think it still works? Sasha asked, momentarily forgetting the pain in her leg. Mira shook her head. I doubt it. Look how long it's been here. But maybe. She trailed off, her mind racing with possibilities. If they could somehow reactivate this war machine, it could be their ticket to freedom, and perhaps even a way to fight back against their alien oppressors. A harsh voice cut through their thoughts. Humans, show yourselves immediately. Panic seized them as they realized Krelox was searching for them. They quickly scrambled out of their hiding place, leaving the partially uncovered mech behind. Here, Overseer, Mira called, trying to sound submissive. We apologize for the delay. My friend was injured, but she's ready to return to work now. Krelox loomed over them, mandibles clicking in agitation. Your excuses are meaningless. You will make up for lost time by working through the night cycle. No rations until your quota is met. As the alien herded them back to their assigned area, Mira and Sasha exchanged a subtle glance. The punishment was harsh, but it couldn't dampen the spark of hope that had been ignited. They had found something incredible. Now they just needed to figure out how to use it. That night, as they worked by the eerie glow of the Zarkaf floodlights, the girls whispered furtively, making plans. "We need to find a way back to that mech," Mira said, her voice barely audible over the clinking of metal. "If we can get it working, even partially." Sasha nodded, wincing as she put weight on her injured leg. "But how? We're watched constantly, and even if we could get to it, neither of us knows how to operate a battle mech." Mira's eyes glinted with determination. "We'll figure it out. We have to. It's our only chance." As dawn broke, casting a sickly light over the scrapyard, the girls finally met their quota. Exhausted and hungry, they were allowed a brief rest before the next day's labor began. Lying on their hard bunks, they continued to plan in hushed tones. They would need to be careful, gathering supplies and information bit by bit. It would be dangerous. If caught, they would certainly face the pain chambers, or worse. But the alternative, a life of endless slavery under the Zarkaf, was unthinkable. Mira clutched the hidden datapad, its schematics now burned into her memory. "We can do this, Sasha," she whispered fiercely. "We'll find a way to bring that mech back to life. And when we do—" Sasha finished the thought, a rare smile crossing her face. "We'll show these bugs what humans are really capable of." As sleep finally claimed them, both girls dreamed of freedom, of soaring above the scrapyard in a restored battle mech, leading humanity in a fight to reclaim their world. It was a fantasy, perhaps, but it was one that would drive them forward in the challenging days to come. Little did they know, their discovery was about to set in motion a chain of events that would shake the very foundations of the Zarkaf's hold on Earth. Weeks passed, each day a careful balance between meeting their grueling work quotas and finding moments to slip away to their hidden treasure. Mira and Sasha had taken to calling the battle mech Titan, a name that filled them with a mixture of awe and hope. Under the cover of night, during brief moments of respite, or by creating distractions, the girls worked tirelessly on Titan. They scavenged parts from the scrapyard, carefully selecting components that wouldn't be missed. Each stolen moment with the mech was a risk, but one they were willing to take. One night, as they worked by the dim light of a salvaged flashlight, Sasha whispered excitedly, "Mira, look at this. I think I found the main power core." Mira crawled over, her eyes widening as she saw the massive cylindrical object Sasha had uncovered. "That's it, but it looks dead." They examined the power core closely, referencing the schematics on their battered datapad. "We need to jumpstart it somehow," Mira mused. "But where can we get that much power without alerting the Zarkaf?" Sasha's face lit up with an idea. The pain chambers. Remember how they always seemed to drain power from the rest of the compound when they were in use? Mira nodded grimly, the memory of their last session still fresh in her mind. If we could redirect that energy. Their planning was interrupted by the sound of approaching footsteps. Quickly, they covered their work and slipped out of Titan's hiding place, hearts pounding as they melted into the shadows. A Zarkaf patrol passed by, its searchlights sweeping across the piles of scrap. For a moment, the beam lingered near Titan's location, and the girls held their breath. But luck was on their side, and the patrol moved on. "That was too close," Sasha breathed once the danger had passed. Mira nodded, her face set with determination. "But we can't stop now. We're so close to bringing Titan back to life." Over the next few days, they put their plan into action. During their work shifts, they carefully observed the power fluctuations in the compound, noting the patterns when the pain chambers were in use. One evening, as they sorted through a new pile of scrap, Mira found something that made her heart leap, a mostly intact power coupling. "This is it," she whispered to Sasha. "With this, we can redirect the energy from the pain chambers to Titan's power core." That night, they made their riskiest move yet. While most of the compound slept, Mira and Sasha crept towards the ominous building that housed the pain chambers. The mere sight of it made their skin crawl, but they pressed on. With shaking hands, Mira connected their salvaged power coupling to the external power lines. Sasha kept watch, every shadow making her jump. "Hurry," Sasha hissed, her eyes darting nervously. "Almost there," Mira muttered, her fingers working quickly despite the danger. Suddenly, alarms blared across the compound. Lights flashed on, and the sound of running feet filled the air. "We've been detected," Sasha cried, panic rising in her voice. Mira finished the connection with a final twist. "Run!" to Titan. They sprinted through the scrapyard, their bare feet barely touching the ground as they raced towards their hidden mech. Behind them, they could hear the angry chittering of Zarkath's soldiers in pursuit. Breathless, they reached Titan's hiding place. Mira practically dove into the cockpit, her hands flying over the controls they had painstakingly repaired over the past weeks. Come on," she muttered, willing the mech to life. Sasha climbed in beside her, slamming the cockpit shut just as the first Zarkath soldiers rounded the corner. For a heart-stopping moment, nothing happened. Then, with a low hum that quickly built to a roar, Titan's systems came online. Lights flickered across the control panel, and the mech shuddered to life. "It's working," Sasha exclaimed, her voice a mixture of disbelief and elation. Mira's hands danced across the controls, muscle memory from countless hours of study kicking in. Titan rose, metal groaning as years of disuse gave way to movement. The Zarkath soldiers froze, their alien features registering shock at the sight of the massive human war machine rising before them. "Hold on," Mira said, a fierce grin spreading across her face. She pushed forward on the controls, and Titan took its first thunderous step. The ground shook, debris scattering as the mech moved. The Zarkath opened fire, their energy weapons sizzling against Titan's armor, but causing no real damage. "We did it," Sasha breathed, watching in awe as Mira piloted Titan through the scrapyard, smashing through barriers and sending their alien oppressors scattering. But their elation was short-lived. As they approached the compound's outer walls, they saw a sight that made their hearts sink: a massive Zarkath war machine, easily twice Titan's size, powering up to meet them. Mira's hands tightened on the controls. "This isn't over yet," she said, determination in her voice. "We've come too far to give up now." As Titan faced off against the alien behemoth, Mira and Sasha knew that their fight for freedom was only just beginning. But for the first time in over a year, they felt something they had almost forgotten: the exhilarating, terrifying thrill of hope. The ground trembled as Titan and the Zarkath war machines squared off. Mira's hands were steady on the controls, but her heart raced. Beside her, Sasha's eyes darted between the view screen and the flickering displays, trying to make sense of Titan's capabilities. "Mira, we're not fully powered," Sasha warned, her voice tense. "We've got maybe 60% functionality. Weapon systems are minimal." Mira nodded grimly. "We'll have to make do. We didn't come this far to give up now." The Zarkath machine made the first move, its massive arms swinging towards Titan with frightening speed. Mira reacted on instinct, jerking the controls to the side. Titan lurched, narrowly avoiding the blow. "Nice move," Sasha exclaimed, but her celebration was cut short as warning lights flashed across the console. "Watch out," energy buildup in their main cannon. A searing beam of energy erupted from the alien war machine, cutting through the air where Titan had been moments before. Mira pushed forward on the throttle, and Titan charged, closing the distance between them. "Sasha, find us a weapon, anything," Mira shouted as she maneuvered Titan in close, using the mech's bulk to prevent the Zarkath machine from bringing its main cannon to bear. Sasha's fingers flew over the controls. "Got it." Activating pneumatic pile driver in the right arm. "It's not much, but it's all we've got." Titan's right fist began to pulse with energy. Mira pulled back and then thrust forward with all her might. The mech's fist connected with the alien machine's midsection, the impact reverberating through Titan's frame. The Zarkath war machine staggered back, its alien pilots clearly caught off guard by the ferocity of the attack, but they recovered quickly, counterattacking with a barrage of energy bolts that peppered Titan's armor. Warning klaxons blared inside the cockpit. "Mira, we can't take much more of this," Sasha yelled over the noise. "Armor integrity is failing." Mira's mind raced, searching for a solution. Her eyes fell on the massive wall behind the Zarkaf machine, the perimeter of their prison. "Sasha, full power to the legs. We're getting out of here." Understanding dawned on Sasha's face. She nodded, rerouting power as Mira prepared for their most desperate move yet. Titan surged forward, catching the alien machine off guard. Instead of attacking, Mira used Titan's momentum to grab hold of their opponent. With a roar of straining metal, she turned, using the Zarkaf machine's own weight against it. "Hold on," Mira shouted as she pushed Titan's legs to their limit. The two massive machines tumbled towards the perimeter wall, picking up speed. The impact was tremendous. The wall crumbled under the combined weight of Titan and the Zarkaf war machine. Dust and debris filled the air as they crashed through, tumbling down the outer slope in a tangle of metal limbs. For a moment, everything was chaos. Mira and Sasha were thrown about in the cockpit, held in place only by their makeshift restraints. Warning lights flashed and sparks flew from damaged consoles. Then suddenly stillness. Mira groaned, blinking dust from her eyes. "Sasha, you okay?" "I think so," came the shaky reply. Did we make it?" Mira activated the external cameras, and their breath caught in their throats. Before them stretched an open landscape, harsh and barren, but unmistakably free of the compound's walls. "We did it," Mira whispered, a smile spreading across her face. "We're out." Their elation was short-lived, however. The sounds of pursuit were already growing, the angry buzz of Zarkaf flyers and the heavy tread of more war machines. "We need to move," Sasha said urgently, her fingers dancing over the controls. "Titan took a beating, but I think I can get us mobile. We won't be winning any races, though." Mira nodded, determination setting in. "Any movement is better than none. Let's go." With a groan of protesting metal, Titan rose to its feet. The mech's movements were sluggish, hampered by damage from the escape, but it was moving. Mira set a course away from the compound, towards the distant horizon where the first hints of dawn were beginning to appear. As they lumbered across the wasteland, the girls allowed themselves a moment of reflection. For the first time in over a year, they were free. The air in Titan's cockpit might have been stale and filled with the acrid smell of fried electronics, but to Mira and Sasha, it was the sweetest thing they'd ever tasted. "Where do we go now?" Sasha asked, her voice a mixture of excitement and apprehension. Mira's eyes were fixed on the horizon, her face set with determination. "We find others. There have to be more humans out there fighting back. We'll join them, and then we take back our world," Sasha finished, a fierce grin on her face. As the sun rose on their first day of freedom, Titan trudged onward. Behind them, the sounds of pursuit grew more distant. Ahead lay uncertainty, danger, and the faint glimmer of hope. Mira and Sasha had taken their first steps towards reclaiming their future. They knew the road ahead would be hard, but they were ready. In freeing themselves, they had kindled a spark, one that would soon grow into a flame of resistance, spreading hope to all of humanity. The Zarkaf had enslaved the human race, but they were about to learn a harsh lesson. Never underestimate the power of human determination, especially when it comes in the form of two teenage girls and their reclaimed war machine. Days blended into nights as Mira and Sasha pushed Titan to its limits, putting as much distance as possible between themselves and the Zarkaf compound. The barren landscape slowly gave way to the remnants of what was once a thriving human city, now a maze of crumbling concrete and twisted metal. "Mira, look," Sasha said, pointing to a flicker of movement in the ruins below. "I think I saw something." Mira brought Titan to a halt, its massive frame creaking in protest. They scanned the area, tension building in the cockpit. After a moment, they saw it again, a flash of movement, unmistakably human. "Should we try to make contact?" Sasha asked, her voice a mixture of hope and caution. Mira nodded, her jaw set with determination. "We came looking for allies. It's time to find them." They guided Titan towards a clearing in the ruins, the mech's heavy footfalls echoing through the desolate cityscape. As they touched down, they saw figures emerging from the shadows, humans armed and wary, their faces a mixture of awe and suspicion at the sight of the battle mech. The cockpit hissed open, and Mira and Sasha emerged, hands raised to show they meant no harm. A tall, scarred man stepped forward, his rifle trained on them. "Who are you?" he demanded. "How did you get that machine?" Mira took a deep breath. "I'm Mira, and this is Sasha. We escaped from a Zarkaf labor camp. This mech, we call him Titan, was our ticket out." The man's eyes narrowed, but there was a glimmer of something in them, respect, maybe even hope. "I'm Marcus," he said, lowering his weapon slightly. "Leader of this resistance cell. Come with me. We have a lot to talk about." As they followed Marcus through the ruins, more people emerged. Men, women, even children, all bearing the marks of hardship, but with a fire of defiance in their eyes. They were led to a hidden bunker, a remnant of humanity's last stand against the initial invasion. Inside, Marcus introduced them to the core of the resistance: engineers, former soldiers, and everyday people turned freedom fighters. As Mira and Sasha shared their story, the room buzzed with excitement. "A functioning battle mech," breathed Erica, a former military engineer. "Do you realize what this means? We finally have a chance to strike back." Plans were quickly formed. With Erica's expertise, they could fully repair and upgrade Titan. Other cells would be contacted, resources pooled, and intel gathered on Zarkaf weaknesses. But as the discussion went on, Mira noticed Sasha growing quiet, a troubled look on her face. When they had a moment alone, she asked, "What's wrong?" Sasha sighed. "It's just, we escaped, but what about the others? All those people still trapped in the labor camps. We can't forget about them." Mira nodded, understanding dawning. "You're right. We need to save them too." They brought their concerns to Marcus and the others. After much debate, a daring plan was formed. They would use Titan not just as a weapon, but as a symbol, a rallying cry for all of humanity. "We'll broadcast a message," Marcus explained, his eyes alight with purpose. "Show everyone that we have a chance, that the Zarkaf aren't invincible." The next few days were a flurry of activity. Titan was repaired and enhanced, its systems pushed beyond their original specs. Mira and Sasha trained relentlessly, homing their skills as pilots and learning combat tactics from the veteran fighters. Finally, the day of reckoning arrived. Titan stood at the heart of the ruined city, its armor gleaming in the sunlight. Mira and Sasha climbed into the cockpit, their movements sure and confident. Marcus's voice crackled over the comm. "Remember, this isn't just about destruction, it's about hope. Show them what humanity can do." As Titan powered up, its reactor humming with newfound strength, Mira and Sasha exchanged a look. They had come so far from the frightened, enslaved girls they once were. Now they were the tip of the spear, humanity's best hope for freedom. "Ready?" Mira asked, her hand hovering over the launch control. Sasha nodded, a fierce grin on her face. "Let's show these bugs what we're made of." With a thunderous roar, Titan launched into the sky, streaking towards the nearest Zarkaf stronghold. As they flew, a message was broadcast across every frequency, in every language. "People of Earth, hear us. We are no longer alone. We have a weapon, we have hope, and we have each other. The time has come to stand up, to fight back. Join us, and together, we will reclaim our world." As Titan descended upon the unsuspecting Zarkaf base, Mira and Sasha knew that this was just the beginning. The road ahead would be long and fraught with danger, But for the first time since the invasion, the future looked bright. The Zarkath had made a grave mistake in underestimating humanity. Now, with two determined girls leading the charge, it was time for the aliens to learn the true meaning of human resilience. The sky burned orange with the setting sun as Titan stood atop a hill overlooking the sprawling Zarkath command center. Mira and Sasha sat in the cockpit, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of the control panels. Around them, hidden in the ruins and shadows, hundreds of human resistance fighters waited for the signal. "This is it," Mira said, her voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. "Everything we fought for comes down to this." Sasha nodded, her hands hovering over the weapons controls. "We've come so far. We can't fail now." Marcus's voice crackled over the comm. "All units in position, awaiting your command, Titan." Mira took a deep breath, exchanging a final look with Sasha. Then, with unwavering resolve, she pushed forward on the throttle. For Earth. Titan surged forward, its massive frame silhouetted against the dying light of day. As they charged, Mira and Sasha could hear the cheers of the resistance fighters through the comm, a chorus of hope and defiance. The Zarkath response was immediate. Alarms blared across the compound as defensive turrets swiveled to face the oncoming threat. Energy beams lanced through the air, some glancing off Titan's reinforced armor. "Evasive maneuvers," Sasha called out, and Mira complied, guiding Titan in a zigzag pattern that made it a harder target to hit. As they closed in on the perimeter, Sasha activated Titan's main cannon. A brilliant beam of energy erupted from the mech's shoulder, carving a path through the Zarkath defenses. The outer wall crumbled, and Titan burst through the breach. "Now," Mira shouted into the comm. From all sides, resistance fighters poured into the compound. Some piloted salvaged vehicles, others charged on foot, but all moved with a singular purpose. The element of surprise was on their side, and the Zarkath troops scrambled to mount a defense. Inside Titan, Mira and Sasha worked in perfect synchronization. Mira guided the mech through the chaos, smashing through buildings and scattering enemy formations. Sasha managed the weapon systems, alternating between precision strikes and wide-area suppression fire to support the ground troops. But the Zarkath were not about to give up their stronghold without a fight. From a massive hangar at the center of the compound emerged their ultimate weapon, a colossal war machine that dwarfed even Titan. "Oh no," Sasha breathed as the monstrosity lumbered towards them, its multiple weapon arrays powering up. Mira gritted her teeth. "We've come too far to back down now. Titan can take it." The two machines clashed in the heart of the compound, their battle shaking the very ground. Titan was faster, more agile, but the Zarkath behemoth had raw power on its side. For every blow Titan landed, it received two in return. Warning lights flashed across the cockpit as systems began to fail under the relentless assault. "Mira, we can't take much more of this," Sasha shouted over the din of battle. Mira's mind raced, searching for a solution. Then she saw it, a weak point in the alien machine's armor, right at the junction of its main body and leg. "Sasha, divert all power to the drill arm," Mira called out. "I've got an idea." Understanding dawned on Sasha's face, and she quickly complied. Titan's right arm began to spin, energy crackling along its length. With a roar of determination, Mira charged forward. The Zarkath machine unleashed a barrage of fire, but Titan pushed through, its armor cracking and systems failing. At the last moment, Mira drove Titan's drill arm directly into the weak point she had spotted. There was a moment of resistance, then a horrific screeching of metal as the drill tore through the alien machine's vital systems. Explosions rippled across its surface, and with a thunderous crash, the behemoth toppled. A cheer went up from the human forces as they watched the Zarkath's ultimate weapon fall. The tide of battle turned decisively in that moment, with the alien troops losing cohesion and resolve. Hours later, as the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, silence fell over the compound. Mira and Sasha emerged from Titan's battered cockpit to find Marcus and the other resistance leaders waiting for them. "We did it," Marcus said, his voice filled with awe. This was their main command center for the entire region. With it gone, the liberation of Earth can truly begin, Sasha finished, a tired but triumphant smile on her face. As news of their victory spread, reports began pouring in from around the globe. Other resistance cells, emboldened by their success, launched their own attacks. Zarkaf control was crumbling, and humanity was rising. Standing amidst the wreckage of battle, Mira looked at Sasha, then at Titan looming behind them. "You know," she said, "when we first found Titan, I never imagined it would lead to this." Sasha nodded, taking Mira's hand. "We've come so far, but our journey isn't over yet." Mira squeezed her friend's hand, her eyes fixed on the horizon where the sun was rising on a new day, a day of freedom, of hope, and of human determination triumphant. "You're right," she said, her voice filled with resolve. "This is just the beginning. We've got a world to rebuild." As the resistance celebrated around them, Mira and Sasha knew that the road ahead would be long and challenging, but they had already overcome impossible odds. With Titan by their side and the indomitable spirit of humanity behind them, they were ready to face whatever came next. The Zarkaf had made a fatal mistake in underestimating the human race. Now, led by two teenage girls who refused to accept defeat, humanity was poised to reclaim its rightful place among the stars.